Yeah, what up, y'all? Welcome to Crown TV. Shout out to all the kings and queens, the whole royal fam in the building. You already know. Today we're talking about the case of Aaron Bat Young and the confusion surrounding this case. This is a big story. This is probably the biggest story left in this case yet, outside of Harv and Nuke and what they get in late January, early February. The reason why I say that is because Bat is expected to get the most time out of all of the people that play. He's facing a total of 20 years and it's looking like he might get the whole 20. Now, the confusion with Bat's case is that people actually think that he is charged with the attempt on Snow Billy's life. That charge actually never existed. It doesn't exist. It's not what he pled out to, and we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to talk about how it's been a point of confusion, not only for everybody watching, but at one point, it was a point of confusion for Bat and even his lawyer. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to run through the intro, and I'm going to be right back.
I'm a big YouTuber.
I literally cover court cases for a living.
I'm gonna give you my ID.
I cover the court cases for a living.
Yeah, what up, y'all? Welcome to Crown TV. I am the Crown Prince. Shout out to the royal fam, man. We done leveled up. We putting the petty things away. Hashtag royal fam in the comments if you hear me. If you want to donate to the channel and help us grow, you could do that through the super chat or the Cash App. Let's get it. All right, we back, and before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that all the paperwork we're about to go through is available on the Band app. All you got to do is go to your app store and download it and search Crown TV and find us on the Band app. Join the Crown TV community on the Band app and get instant access to the Crown TV calendar, daily news updates, all documents and court paperwork as it is released. This means you will get it here first. New video and live stream alerts and more. And that is all for free on the Band app. All right, so if you're not a part of the Band app community or the Crown TV community on the Band app, you're missing out on a lot. But I want to get to this paperwork real quick, y'all. So let's do that. All right, so now, like I was saying, there is a lot of confusion around the charges in this case. A lot of people think Bat was actually charged with Snow Billy's attempted murder, and that charge never actually existed. Now, there was a time where even Bat and his lawyer were confused about this. It seemed like everything he was being charged with, his guidelines, sentencing range, all of this was based around this attempted murder. So they had a conference back in May and they discussed this, and this conference was strictly set up to help Bat understand this. I want to go back one page because we're starting at the bottom of this page and then immediately going on to the next page, so I don't want anybody to be confused. Now, this is Bat's lawyer talking. He says, "Your Honor, I think one of the questions that in concept Mr. Young doesn't think makes sense is that in a plea offer, one of the guidelines calculations is based on an attempted murder." Now, the judge says, right. Now, the lawyer says, that's not actually a charge count in this indictment that he has. So as this plea offer was communicated, there is the possibility of a superseding indictment. And what's happening here is they threatened Bat with a superseding indictment if he didn't plea to this count one of this indictment. This is the RICO that Bat pled to. So what they are doing, I don't want to get too off track, but what they are doing and what they are saying is that they are throwing this attempted murder and this fentanyl, this drug charge, under this RICO account. So there is no actual attempted murder charge. There is no drug dealing charge for Bat. It's all under, they throwing it all under the RICO. So this is different from what we seen with like Shoddy and Crippy, where they are charged with specific charges, and this is because they did not plea out to this RICO, and this judge is going to explain how that is possible. So let's go back to the lawyer talking. He says there was a deadline on this, accepting this plea offer, and he is struggling with the concept that he could be pleading guilty to a count that includes a guidelines calculation about an attempted murder that's not in the indictment. So I want to scroll down here where the judge is explaining this. Y'all know my scrolling is a little off, but we're gonna get this here. Okay, I'm gonna scroll all the way down. Okay, it says, look, without regard to the facts in this case, which I don't propose to say anything about since I only know the limited amount I know from hearing from counsel at prior conferences and from reading the indictment, I can only describe the law in general. And he's talking to Bat here. He says, hopefully, Mr. Young, this will be of some help to you. Count 1 charges you with participating in a racketeering conspiracy. This means participating in an agreement with other people to commit crimes in connection with an enterprise or outfit that is known as the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods. Continue on the next page. That is the federal prosecutor speaking. He says the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods. Now the judge starts talking again. He says, right, the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods. When you have a racketeering conspiracy count, that conspiracy can involve different objects. I've had many different cases where conspiracies have involved varying objects depending on the nature of the organization. So for example, I've had a number of racketeering cases involving other gangs. Maybe this is a useful way to explain it. And the defendants who pled guilty were found guilty at trial of participating in the conspiracy, were alleged or admitted to agreeing with other members or associates of the gang to commit a bunch of different crimes in connection with that gang. That included, in some cases, murder in order to further the interest of the gang, or attempted murder or other violent crimes, robbery crimes in connection with the gang, or drug dealing in connection with the gang. So what the judge is explaining in here is that when you are charged with this RICO, they don't necessarily have to charge you with these specific crimes, even though they are using these specific crimes against you. And we are going to see this in his plea agreement. So let's go to that. I'm going to skip over this next page here. And we're going to go to his plea agreement where Bat is talking in his own words. So the judge says, all right, at this point, I'd like you to tell me in your own words what you did that makes you believe you're guilty of the charge in count 1. Again, that's the RICO. Everybody who pled out to this count 1 pled out to the RICO. So Bat starts talking. He says, between 2013 and 2018, I was a member of 9 Trey. I agreed with other members of 9 Trey to sell fentanyl analog. I sold fentanyl analog with other 9 Trey members on many occasions. On January 19th, and this is where we get into the Snow Billy thing. He says, on January 19th, I discharged a firearm and shot a 9 Trey member in the head. The court says, sorry, you discharged a firearm and I just didn't hear. He says, I discharged a firearm and shot a member of 9 Trey in Brooklyn with the intent to kill him. That was January 19th, 2018. The lawyer says, the court says, I was just about to ask that. And then they go into, let me get this here. All right, technical difficulties, people. So we've scrolled down a little bit. And here is just a continuation of the same conversation. So the judge goes on talking to Bat for a couple pages. And they talk about this. And he goes more into his own words. And I wanted to get to this last part here. where it says right there in the middle of the page, it says, when I ask you that, I'm referring to both the narcotic sales as well as the attempted murder. So it's very clear that they are using both of these crimes against them, even though they are not actual charges. And like I said, it's very different in all the other cases. So I could see why Bat and his lawyer were actually confused at one point. So I just wanted to make that clear to everybody, because I see this said a lot, that Bat is charged with the attempted murder. He's actually not. He only pled out to the RICO charge, but they are clearly using this attempted murder and this drug charge against him. So now I want to go back, if I can, to the 20-year thing, which is here. Okay, so this is from earlier on in his plea agreement, where they talk about the guidelines and so on and so forth. And it says this plea agreement also contains a guidelines calculation that the parties have agreed upon. It says the guidelines calculation is driven by two events, or two sort of components of the racketeering conspiracy. One is an attempted murder, which the parties agree results in a guidelines offense of level of 35, and one is the narcotics conspiracy, which the parties agree results in a guidelines offense level of 44. Taking into account grouping and acceptance of responsibility, the overall offense level for count 1 is 41. The parties agreed that the defendant is in criminal history of category 2, and a combination of offense level 41 and criminal history category 2 results in a guidelines range of 360 months to life. Now, given that offense to which the defendant is pleading guilty has a 20-year statutory maximum, the parties agreed that the stipulated guideline sentence for the defendant is 240 months imprisonment. That 240 months is that 20 years. So this, coupled with another piece of paperwork that I don't have loaded up here, which it says the same thing but in much clearer language, they are recommending that he get this whole 240 months or 20 years. Now, when a pre-sentencing report comes back, we will see what the probation department recommends. It may be this whole 240 months. It may be less, based on what happens with the investigation or whatever. But as far as it's looking now, they want Bat to get this whole 20 years. So that's the reason why I keep saying Bat is looking at 20 years. But we will really know, and we will really have a better understanding once that pre-sentencing report comes back, and we should be expecting that in the next few days or so. We will see what the government or the probation department is recommending, and that's what this judge has been going by. So we cleared up the thing about the attempted murder charge, and I see that so often when people ask about Bat, why he's expected to get this 20 years, and people say it's because he has an attempted murder charge. He doesn't. He actually has a RICO charge, and then they are throwing all of this stuff up under the RICO, and the judge, as I showed y'all, just explained how that's possible. So with that being said, we are going to check out, make sure y'all go and check out all the other videos. Excuse me, make sure y'all go and check out all the other videos that we've been doing on this case. I got into this Bat thing a while back. I can't point out the video right now, but I got into this Bat thing a while back. So go back, check out all the other videos if you missed them, and you might find some jewels in there that you haven't seen or heard yet. With that being said, thank you for watching Crown TV. I was going to do this live, but I've been experiencing some technical difficulties with the live stream. I'm still working on it, y'all. I will have that together soon. Go subscribe to the band app. It's free, y'all. Go get the paperwork. I'm going to put this paperwork up there immediately after this video so y'all can go check it out. And that's it for this video. Peace.
On a Friday night at 9 o'clock, hundreds of kids who don't have to be here. You'd think this would be the last place they'd want to be. But here in Newark, they're in here because of what's out there.
Anything that keeps me off the street, I'll do. Like, besides doing anything wrong, like selling drugs and all that stuff. I'm not into that.
If I come here, I will see, like, friendly faces.
Gun violence, like, out there. They fighting, getting shot.
Inside the walls of West Side High, every Friday night until 11 p.m., it's a space free of fear. Within these walls, kids can shoot pool, play video games, hit the hardwood, practice cheers, or even lay down track in a recording studio. Within these walls, they can laugh. It's called the Lights On program, now in its 4th year, and it's open to everyone. Nadia Camacho graduated in 2008.
If it was around back then, I think that we wouldn't have lost so many of my classmates. Like, if we have a class reunion now, a lot of my classmates wouldn't be there.
I haven't lost any more kids to gun violence since we started doing the school year.
Principal Akbar Cook says you can't ignore the results. If you remember him, that's because last summer, Eyewitness News told you about a free laundry room he installed in school. Students bullied because of dirty clothes, resulting in chronic absenteeism. Principal Cook says there's been a 10% increase in daily attendance since.
I was finding out just from being a principal that the kids don't eat during the weekends.
They also serve hot meals to kids on Friday nights. During the summer, they do this 3 nights a week. It's all made possible by donations from the community and alumni. It's kind of amazing what a school can become when people care about kids who just want a chance.